Hello, welcome to Social Work 310's first lecture on YouTube. Tonight we're going to be talking about two very specific theories. The first one is risk and resilience theory, and the second we'll be discussing Dr. Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's stages of dying, which you may be familiar with already. So let's go ahead and get started. If you would like, you can print out or pull out your printed PowerPoints and follow along with me. And you can also refer to them later. It's not necessary, but it may be helpful for some people. For risk and resiliency theory, let's start out with some definitions. The first definition of resilience is the human capacity, the ability to face, overcome, be strengthened by, and even transformed by the experiences of adversity. Risk is the exposure to possible harm, loss, injury, or danger. Now, all of us are exposed to risks in our life depending on our situation, depending on the age, depending on our stage, depending on our community that we're involved in. What are some risks? Well, risks could be biological risks. It could be things that have to do with our physical being, our wellness, our health. It could be biological issues. It could even be issues related to illness, such as mental health issues. We also have risks that come from society, social factors. When we're looking at the communities that we live in, are the communities safe? Is the community supportive? Are our families supportive? We also have risks that come along with other people that are involved in our lives that may bring risk factors into our lives that weren't necessarily there before. And we also have risks of living and driving and living in our world. Many different risks. Think about for a second some of the risks that are in your life. Teenage boys, that would be one of mine. Just kidding. Anyways, let's move on. What are some of the basic assumptions in this theory? Well, with resilience, like I mentioned, it's a biopsychosocial and spiritual phenomenon. So resilience has many components that are complex in nature, that are knitted together to form what resilience may be for an individual. Now, for some people, they may have very strong biological factors, maybe very strong psychological factors, social supports, social factors, and maybe their spirituality is key in what makes them resilient. It's going to be different for everyone. It's not a percentage of this, a percentage of that, making up a recipe of what resilience could be. Resilience is also very dynamic in its adaptation to help a person be stable, or for that goodness of fit. Resilience would need to change in order to help provide that stability for an individual. Resilience occurs across the life course. A lot of research has been done with resilience in children. In fact, especially teenagers. You may even have heard of a program that is used in not only this community but nationwide called Assets. It's a program where the strengths or assets of young people, of adolescents, are looked at, as well as risk factors, and the key is to try to give as many assets or strengths, acknowledge those in families and specifically teenagers and individuals, and reduce the risk factors. I know I've had friends and colleagues who have done the program, and it's out there in Reno. But one of the things that it's based on is that risk and resiliency. I chose to present this theory in this particular class when we're talking about older adults. I think it's a really good fit with Dr. Kubler-Ross, stages of dying, and you'll kind of see in a few moments. But individuals, families, and communities all have resilience and risks and unique paths of development. And so it's important that we have an understanding of what we can do as a worker, as a social worker, to help increase that resiliency in individuals, families, and even communities. Now, some other basic assumptions about resiliency. It's basically linked to life stress and the way people uniquely cope and their capacity to deal with life stresses. It involves competence in daily functioning. Now, if resilience was on a continuum, risk would be at one end of the continuum with resilience at the other. And as we're moving along, there's certain times, certain places that we may be in our life where our coping skills are just not up to par. It can be for a variety of reasons. Think of some reasons in your own life of why coping skills may not be very strong at that particular point. And so, again, working with clients, we want to strengthen that so we can give clients the ability, the acknowledgement of those strengths so that they see them and are able to build on their problem-solving skills and gain strength in resiliency. Resiliency is interactive, and it has an effect in combination with risk factors. Like, it moves along depending on our experiences and how we deal with them. Resiliency is also enhanced through connection or relatedness with others, and sometimes, in some cases, that would be you, the social worker. So what are some enhancing resiliency interventions? Well, first of all, it's to listen. Listening is so powerful. Just hearing somebody out, acknowledging what they have to say, what their thoughts are, what their feelings are, acknowledging the loss that they may be expressing, acknowledge that they may feel vulnerable, and maybe that the future is unknown and there are issues that need to be dealt with. You want to help the client identify their sources of stress as well as sources of strength. Help them stabilize or normalize the situation. Many times when people are going through difficulties, they feel like they're all alone, or they're the only one who is going through such a difficult time. And then help clients take control. Help them see that they have choices. Help them see that they can make decisions to make changes in their lives. So some strategies for intervention. Well, of course, providing resources. Sometimes providing resources is just helping them see the choices that they do have. We're looking at promoting the client's self-efficacy, working together with them to help bring about client change, self-change. We want to strengthen their problem-solving abilities, address and acknowledge positive and negative emotions as well. Again, listen carefully, listen to their stories. Help them make meaning out of the critical events that have happened. Help them see the learning, see the problem solving. And then assist them with transcending the immediate situation, whether that's an immediate crisis, whether it's been a long-standing struggle, but being that resource to be able to help them